All right, we're live. Hello, hello, hello to everyone. Apologize for getting on a little bit late, of course, with technology. You can't always trust things will go as planned, so you make do. So I just want to make sure that I give people a few minutes to jump on and join us for our tonight's discussion. While people are coming in, I will go ahead and start with introductions because we want to make sure we keep this to, the goal is to keep it to 30 minutes or under, and because we know time is of value to many, so we want to make sure we give you valuable information in a short amount of time. So first, I'll introduce myself. My name is Elke. I am the CEO and founder of Savvy Moms Unite, where I teach single moms how to live a simple, practical, realistic life. My goal is to help them find a career of their dreams while building wealth over time, because I do think the two work very well together, and so they can support their families long term, depending on whatever situation they're in. And the reason I started this series was because I wanted to make sure that I was giving valuable information when it came to money, because money is a struggle for many people, of course, but for single moms in particular who are really only dependent on one income. I wanted to show them there are ways to deal with what you currently have and work towards growing that. So that's why these series were created, and it is mainly to deal with issues around money mindset. So I'm going to have my special guest join and introduce herself. Nabi will talk more about what she does, but Nabi's been a great resource. She's a credit specialist and a practicing attorney, and she has her own small business. So I wanted to make sure I give her some time to give us her background and what she does. So take it over, Nabi.
Thank you so much, Elke, for having me back here a second time. I really appreciate the opportunity. And hello, everyone. My name is Nabi Subi Masoke. People call me Nabi for short because it's way easier than my full first name. And as Elke stated, I am an attorney as well as a certified credit consultant. On the legal side, I help my clients with various issues. I draft contracts for them that they have between themselves and their clients. I also help my clients with debt settlement negotiations. I also, on the credit side, I help my clients get negative items errors off their credit report to help improve their FICO scores. Because as we know today, your credit report is the gateway to everything, whether it's getting your utilities turned on, getting a cell phone, renting an apartment, getting a loan for a car or a mortgage, or even these days, getting a job. Your credit impacts all of those avenues. So it's really important to make sure that you have your credit report accurate. And the reality is, most of the credit reports out there, over 70% contain errors. And that's just the reality. You may not even realize that there are errors on your report if you never order it. So it's really important to do that. A lot of people are afraid to take the time to order their report because of the fear of the unknown. But guess what? What you don't know could be hurting you. You
Mm,
apply for a job and you did great during that interview. Maybe it came down between you and that one other person, and what they used to make that decision was your credit report.
right.
What if there are errors in there that you're not even aware of that cost you a potential job? It's really important to stay on top of those issues because they can have a big impact on your life, and sometimes through no fault of your own if there's an error reported by a business. So it's something to really consider, and I really help my clients get on top of those issues. We address them, and it's not scary. People think it's very frightening, but if you take the time and go through everything in not too much time, you can have an improvement in your credit score that can open doorways for you that were closed before. So those are a couple of things that I do as an attorney as well as a certified credit consultant.
Thank you, Nabi, and I'll just add a plug for Nabi. The service she's providing is so valuable because she is absolutely right. Your credit will be the decision making. It can make or break a decision for you in many cases. And I'm saying this to you because I lived that experience. Nabi lived that experience. My clients know, I have family members who have had issues getting things because of credit. And it's more and more important now than ever before. The time where we could just let it go is over because it's really seeping into all aspects of our life. And so we have to be mindful of that. So her service is incredible. Please definitely look her up. And towards the end, she'll give information of how to reach out to her if you're interested in purchasing any products or services that she offers. So tonight's topic is called the lottery syndrome, and we'll explain more about that in a few minutes. But the lottery syndrome and how it impacts your financial future. And the lottery syndrome doesn't just affect lottery winners, but it's based off of what happens when a lottery winner comes into a large windfall. So, uh, I'll give some statistics. I love using statistics because it really gives people perspective on how large the problem is. So it says 70% of lottery winners go broke. 70%. That's a huge number of people who are winning thousands, millions of dollars, and in the end not having it. And they can lose it within the first 5 years of their winnings.
Right.
Nearly one-third declare bankruptcy, meaning that they have to go through a process where they need to, and Nabi, you can explain better, but they have to go through a process where they have to protect certain assets because they have so much debt and they have people coming after them to collect that debt. And that means they were worse off than they were before winning. Yikes. It can also lead to estrangement of friends, family members, drug abuse, other substances, depression, which is truly unfortunate when you think about it, because we think, oh, you win this large sum of money, you should be okay. But now look at what's happening because you're dealing with other things that really were there before winning. So I'm going to turn it over to Nabi for her to explain what is that syndrome, what does it mean, and then we'll talk about how it's going to impact you long term and the things you can do to help with that.
Thanks, Elke, and thank you for providing those statistics. A lot of people don't realize what happens to a lot of people after they win the lottery. They think, wow, this person had nothing, or they didn't have a lot, and now their dreams are fulfilled, they're good.
Right.
But the reality is, think about this. If you've never been good with money or never had a lot of money, and let's face it, how many people are given an opportunity to just have $5 million, $10 million dropped in their lap? Who would know what to do with that? It would be overwhelming. Well, what about someone who's never been good with money, who's never had a budget, never had to balance a budget, and it's just kind of winged it throughout their lives? They're suddenly being given this large amount of money, and they're expected to know what to do with it. Would you know what to do with that under those circumstances? Probably not. And unfortunately, a lot of these lottery winners, that's what happens to them. They get all this money. They never could buy certain things before. Now they go crazy. They're buying houses, not just one house. I'm talking houses, multiple cars. They're buying things for family and friends, and they think they're being generous, and sometimes they are, but it's to a fault. You need to take time and decide, wow, I have this big chunk of change. What should I do with it? And instead, they fall into this whole syndrome of thinking that it's always going to be there. They've never had it before. It's a windfall to them, and they don't realize money can be a finite resource. If you don't balance
Right.
your budget, if you don't have a budget, you can lose it quickly. A lot of times they don't have financial planners, and they just think, well, the money's going to come. I can't spend all this money, but guess what? You can spend it very quickly. And if you don't manage your money properly, you can lose it very quickly. You can lose it to taxes, and it becomes a problem, and this whole lottery syndrome occurs. And if you've never had a foundation, you're not going to be able to manage that money, and it becomes very dangerous. And that's why, as Elke suggested, with those statistics she gave us, some of these lottery winners end up filing for bankruptcy. And it's a shock because sometimes the money is gone in 5 years, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more time. But it's amazing. People think, how could you spend all that money? They make bad investments. They've never invested in the stock market before, and they find an unscrupulous advisor that says, hey, dump all your money here, not realizing that investor is getting a fee for steering them towards a certain stock. And all of a sudden, their money went into this stock. They didn't diversify their money. It all went into one place, and suddenly the market tanked, and their investment went with it. And that's why, in some cases, people have to file for bankruptcy. They have to file for Chapter 13 if they have a home to save their home and do repayments. And it can be, like Elke suggested, very stressful on families. Relationships are destroyed over that. Divorce occurs. Friends that were there, they're not cause depression because for you, and they're really there for something else.
Right. Absolutely. Nabi, for that great description and what comes with having this major financial impact on your life, and how when you're not prepared, it could really ruin things for you. And to be honest, from my personal experience, I never understood it. I was one of those people who were like, man, how do you lose all this money? Like, it doesn't make sense. If I won, you kind of say that if I won, I would be doing this, and if I won, no one would be in trouble. But those are all the reasons why, if you did win, it would be an issue, because you want to go and solve everyone's issue. You want to go ahead and spend the money and live the life you've never lived, especially when you've had to scrape, you've had to kill yourself to make a dollar. When you've been given this large sum of money that you didn't have to work for, you don't value it.
Right.
You don't value it. You don't understand it.
Exactly. And sometimes people focus on the wrong things.
Right.
There's a show on HGTV. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called My Lottery, Dream Home. And they focus on two couples per episode usually. And on the show, they're lottery winners. They've won like a large sum of money. I remember seeing one episode where they had two different families. They had a couple, an older couple, that had their home paid off. They lived in a nice neighborhood. They had savings. You could tell that they were doing everything right already, irrespective of really winning the lottery. They won $5 million, and they're going to go out and look for their dream home. The other couple was a young couple with two very small children, and they wanted to find their dream home. They're just starting out. They're different from the older couple that was established.
Right.
And it was interesting to me at the end of the show, the couple that won the younger couple only won, I think, $1.2 million. So it's $1 million, but we all know
that much.
Doesn't go that far these days, right?
No.
So it's very interesting at the end of the show, because they showed different types of homes, and the couple that won the least amount of money, that had the largest liabilities, because they have two small children that they have to pay for education, college, all that stuff. These kids were like maybe 5 and 7 years old, so they're very young. The other couple they were older, getting near retirement, so their liabilities were done, house paid off, savings, all that stuff. And the couple that won the least amount of money, that had the biggest liabilities, they picked a house that cost about $900,000. Okay, the couple that had their home paid off and everything, they picked a house that cost $500,000, and they won $5 million. So what do you think about their mindset? The older couple, even though they fell into all this money, they still had a strong financial foundation, because they said, you know what, we can buy a house for $2 million because we won $5 million, but we don't need that. We can get a beautiful house for $500,000 that meets our needs and worry about, paying we have money left over. We don't want to suddenly be living in a house and we're just have no extra money, because money can go quick. And the funny thing about the young couple, they bought this beautiful beach house. They spent most of their money, and when you think about it, they can lose that house down the line, because those houses, you have to pay property taxes on them. Even if you bought it free and clear, property taxes can go up. You're living on the beach. You could have a storm. Your house could be destroyed. Your insurance might not cover everything. So instead of putting some of that money towards their children's education, putting money in the bank and maybe retirement, bulk of putting themselves in financial jeopardy. I just thought that was so interesting, that when it comes to money and mindset, you can actually make poor decisions and lose that money, or put yourself in danger of losing that money. And that's a prime example. I was just at one them in a house. People that had a strong financial foundation, $1 million, really have financial foundation. You don't have a budget.
Right. No, thank you for, giving that example, because that's exactly what I try to speak on all the time, is that there are people here, there are families who live off of $45,000, and they're a family of 5, and they do fine. And then there's a one, 2-person family who struggle. And
Right.
it really is the mindset around how you spend your money, what is priority in your life, what makes sense for you to have right now versus later. I think we want this instant, once that money comes in, we want instant wins, instant, instant gratification, instant feelings of feeling successful. So you do all these surface things because you equate success with the
Exactly.
things. So if I have this, that couple who's like, we have these two children and we got $1 million, we're millionaires. But I always remember this statement from a business friend of mine. He was like, you can have $1 million today, but if you spend $1, you're no longer a millionaire.
Very
So you got to
true.
figure out how do you compound that so you can stay a millionaire. And
Exactly.
so had that family thought about that, I think they would have really reconsidered. They could have gotten a really great house for far less. A $900,000 house is insane when you're
Yes.
working off of $1 million. It's like
Exactly.
how you paying the taxes on that? It's all the stuff that comes with it, and it just leads it to you know possibly why suffering. They're not long-term impact. They're not thinking, okay, if you buy that $900,000 house, the taxes on it is going to be
Right.
insane. So what you're paying every year, now it's another mortgage somewhere else, right?
Exactly.
And the utilities to upkeep that house, and the taxes on cars, the expensive cars that you're paying, and the upkeep costs, like all those things add up eventually, which is why their money's being drained and why they're stuck, facing bankruptcy and all these other issues because the long term decision making process isn't taking place. So what can we do now that we've understood? Okay, this can be a problem from anyone, no matter if they have a windfall or not.
Right.
What can we do as wealthy people? Because I always think about, I'm like, one day we're going to be wealthy. So how do we maintain a healthy mindset around money so that when we do get that windfall, we're prepared for it? And so each Nabi and I will give you some suggestions as to how to combat this so that you don't end up in this position. One thing, and I know Nabi and I will agree, is your mindset, like changing your mindset around the earning of money. You have to earn it to value it. If you don't earn it, you won't value how it came into your life. It's just like if someone gave you a whole bag of, if someone gave you a diamond ring right now, just off the street, said, "Hey, here's a diamond ring." You will value it, but you won't value it like when you had to work and pay monthly payments towards that diamond ring, and you know what it cost. You
Right.
you would treasure it. You would guide it with your life because you know what it took to get it, right? It's just like that job you've been waiting for. You know the value of it. You'll hold on to it because you know what you had to do to get there. If you don't know what you had to do to get there, it's not going to stay with you. So that earning and valuing what you get.
Yes.
My second suggestion would be, you need to think for a rainy day because no situation is permanent. The most constant thing in this world is change, and your situation can change. Our financial situations, if we're blessed enough, yes, we can maintain a wealthy lifestyle for the rest of our life if we're smart. But things even happen. People go through um, a bad economy, people have to be laid off, all kinds of things can happen. So you always got to think there's another day. And I want to be prepared for that rainy day, that emergency, that if anything were to happen, we're protected. So just thinking long term about that. So when you get any income, large sums of money, you always think, I need to invest it in some way so that it grows. And
Absolutely.
the third thing, say no to your friend, family who are insisting upon you to say no. You know, obligated. You're not inherited. You've just come into a large sum of money. And if you're if you're expecting those and they are for themselves. It really should be, if they want support, you looking at ways to give them the money so they can grow and make their own. So I'd rather pay for a course that I know will help you than to give you $5,000 for you to go blow on something. So those would be my suggestions. What would be yours, Nabi?
Those are great suggestions, and I completely agree. It actually starts with your mindset.
Yes.
And I think that's really whatever you're looking to accomplish in your life. I've discussed this before. It's all about your mindset. You have to believe that there's enough in the world out there for you and you're entitled to your portion of it. You can't have a poverty mindset or a scarcity mindset. With that said, you have to also have the basics, which is a budget. You have to know where your money is going, how much is coming into your household, and you have to take the time to do that research, whether it takes you a few months to figure it out, and then you can start doing a budget to meet your needs. It's important. There's so many people that don't do that. And again, that's why people get into credit card debt, because they have no idea that they're not making enough money to cover, and they're putting on a credit card drawing. You have to do like the basics. And then if you do fall into a sum of money, forget about even winning the lottery. That's, if you win it, that's one thing. But most people don't win the lottery. They might inherit money if someone passed away. They might get money from life insurance. Right. It could be something small. It could be maybe you get $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. That's still a good chunk of money that you should be able to do something with. But what happens a lot of times if you've never had that kind of money before and you're not disciplined, people just go out and make rash decisions. Right. Instead, if you end up getting a lump sum of money, whatever method it is that you get that money, sometimes it's better to do nothing. And when I say do nothing, I mean put that money in the bank. Don't feel obligated to dump it into the market or buy an investment or buy this or buy a house. Sometimes it's better to take your time and think about what you want to do with that money. What can that money achieve for you, not just today, but down the road? So you might want to take a few months. Even if you take 6 months, the money, if it's in a bank account and it's someplace safe, like a checking or savings account, nothing's going to happen to it. You can have the peace of mind to take the time and do what works for you. Don't feel pressure to do anything, because sometimes when you make decisions under pressure, you regret them later because you weren't the right decision. So sometimes it's better to do nothing, yourself, and then move on. Another thing that I would suggest to anybody that is either, whether you win money, inherit it or not, if you're working and earning money, you might want to, and I don't just planner, I mean a certified financial or they have financial area. People have planners that have no certifications, no Series 65 licenses, and they're not. Because if you have those credentials, then you actually have a fiduciary duty, an obligation to your clients to preserve their money. And some people just Series 7 license, they're looking to, sell you products so they could get their commission. They don't have a fiduciary duty to you. So you want to make sure that you're going to find the right planner. And there are tools out there, there's resources out there. You can go to letsmakeaplan.org. That's the website for the certified financial planners. It's a website where they're all certified. They all have a fiduciary duty to you. You can go on there and look and see who meets up with your expectations and find somebody who is qualified. Now, the best way to find a planner is if you know someone who's doing well with their money and they're a friend, a clergy member, somebody in your church, a family member that is solid with their finances, get a recommendation from that person. That's the first way. If you can't get a recommendation or don't know anybody that you feel is on par with where you want to be, then of course you can do your online research at any of those sites. There's also a site called LearnVest.com. LearnVest.com. That's a site where, depending on what your needs are, there'll be a one-time setup fee of either $99 or $399. And after that, the fee is only $19 a month, and you have unlimited access to a certified financial planner. So that's somebody that can help guide you through your decisions. And for under $20 a month, that's really not bad to have unlimited access to somebody who has a fiduciary duty to you and your money.
Right.
So those are some sites I would recommend to get started, whether or not you have fallen into a large sum of money or not. If you are working and earning money and you're trying to plan for your future, you need to have somebody in your corner that you trust. And when you're looking at a financial planner, interview them. If it's somebody like that you want to go into their office and meet with them, you have to make sure that you're comfortable with that person. If you don't feel comfortable asking that person for advice, or asking them why they're recommending something to you, you shouldn't work with that person. No one should ever make you feel like you're not smart enough to ask a question, because at the end of the day, they're working for you. So make sure that you're comfortable with that person. And if you feel any kind of bad feeling about that person, that's a red flag. Listen to your gut instinct. There's so many other people out there that you can work with. Don't feel obligated to go with the first person because they have a title, or so-and-so recommended them. Maybe it's not a good relationship. Maybe you don't vibe with that person. This is your money. You have to feel comfortable with whoever it is you're dealing with. So keep that in mind. And another organization that is really great is something called feedthepig.org. That is an organization that they help you with your money, every aspect of money, from savings to investing your money to budgeting to credit, and all that information is out there for free. So I would encourage you all to get started, if you haven't started today, and look into those resources. Talk to friends and family that you trust are doing well with their finances, and speak with them, get a recommendation. And again, if you don't have anybody like that, then these are some resources that you can go to on your own now, do your due diligence, do your research, and find somebody that you feel comfortable with. Because whether you're making $30,000, $100,000, $1 million, it helps to have somebody in your corner who's there for you, that knows your goals and your needs 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, that's going to be there to help you plan for your successful financial future.
Absolutely. Nabi, those are all awesome resources. And please, hopefully you were taking notes. And this video will be available. So if you, if you catch it in replay form, you can subscribe to my channel so you can get all that resource that Nabi gave to you, because they're awesome. And she's right. You need to really do your due diligence. You're putting your financial future in someone's hands, so you want to be able to trust them and that they're looking out for your best. And so just making sure you do your research, fill them out. If they're offering consultations beforehand, really listen in and clue yourself in on what they're saying and how they're advising you, so that you know you're making the best decision. You shouldn't be giving someone money right off the bat. And I offer free consultation. I know Nabi does as well, because we want to make sure that relationship is going to work before we even commit to something. We don't want to commit to something and you may not be ready for the process, or you may not be feeling my approach. So I want to make sure we're good before we even sign paperwork.
Absolutely, that's great advice, Elke. And I offer a complimentary confidential credit call for anybody that might have questions or issues when it comes to their credit. And that is a bit.ly link. You can go to bit.ly/credit call and get your complimentary confidential credit consultation. So that's something I offer, and I know Elke offers great services. She's providing an amazing service with this free weekly content. So I'm hoping you all take advantage and really learn from what she has to offer, because she's very passionate about, making sure that single moms especially are taken care of with all this information and this financial advice. So she's doing an awesome service. I'm happy to be a part of it and to be included on this episode with her.
All right. Thank you again, Nabi. I know that you need to head on out, so I just want to make sure everyone get your information once again. How do they reach you on social media?
The best way is the bit.ly. That's bit.ly/credit call. That's my, it'll schedule an appointment with me, and you can answer some questions, and we can schedule a call, whether it's a phone call or a Skype call or a Zoom call, and do your free complimentary consultation and see what your issues are.
All right. And she has a great group called Financial Gold Stars on Facebook. Definitely join that as well, so that you can get some valuable information there and get some contact information from her. Utilize the service is important. We can't say it enough, how it's really now is the time to really dig deep and get what you need in terms of your money information. So thanks again, Nabi. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time
You're
out.
welcome. And thank you for reminding me. For the Gold Stars, it's easier to do it by going to bit.ly/goal, GOAL, and stars to access the Facebook group. Thank you again for reminding me about that.
Oh, no problem. Join the group is great. I'm part of it, so, and I love the information that Nabi gives. So I'm a coach, but I'm a learner as well. So I don't shy away from taking in information all the time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Elke, for having me on again. And guys, make sure that you're following Elke's show. She provides amazing free information that you have to just take advantage of and utilize.
Thanks again.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye, Nabi.
Bye.
So if you want more information, the series is every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here on Facebook Live. The links change every Monday because the episodes have to be saved differently. So I just usually when I share the information, I share the flyer with the new link. So just pay attention. You can follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook. I have a group called Savvy Moms Unite. That's for single moms. You can also follow me on Periscope, Twitter, and Instagram, Savvy Mom Elke, and that's where I do weekly Periscopes and the Monday evening money series. So I try to provide as much opportunities to give information as possible. But thanks again. Have a wonderful evening. I can't wait to see you next Monday, and enjoy the rest of your week.